Shape notes are a uniquely American form of music notation that came about in New England in the 1800s. Shape note notation was printed in collections of folk tunes with sacred text and were designed to help a novice sing four-part harmony in a group. What makes shape notes unique is its exclusive use in American root music books from 1801 onwards. In modern day, the use of shape notes has declined, but there are still groups that keep the tradition alive. But what is shape note notation, and how does it help you sing? Shape notes can trace their roots back to a method used to teach singers invented by the 11th century Italian monk Guido di Arezzo. At the time, Guido wanted to figure out a way to help singers in his monastery read the sacred texts used during service. Guido took the 6 pitches of the hexachord used then and assigned each note of the scale a sound: ut, re, mi, fa, sol, and la. He then had his students memorize the sounds that match each pitch. This method, called solemnization, meant that students sight reading music could focus on the tune without needing to read lyrics at the same time. All they had to do was sing the sound associated with the pitch and then add the text once they learned the piece. As time went on, 16th century English singers learned that they could do fine with just 4 pitches: fa, sol, la, and mi. Settlers took this style of 4-part singing to America. In 1790, Philadelphia shopkeeper John Connolly had been toying around with the music notation used at the time. He decided to take solemnization one step further, assigning a shape to each of the 4 pitches used by the English singers: a right triangle for fa, an oval for sol, a rectangle for la, and a diamond for mi. These symbols replaced the usually oval note had used in sheet music notation. This meant that a singer could memorize the shape that matches each note, and then sing the associated sound when that shape comes up in the piece. This style of notation first appeared in the Early Instructor, published in 1801 by William Little and William Smith. At the time, shape notes became a popular form of music notation, with over 200 books printed from 1801 to 1861. The music of these books were usually collections of folk tunes from a variety of American and European sources, with lyrics from sacred texts dating back as far as medieval Europe. Some examples are the Southern Harmony, published in Western Kentucky in 1835, Harmonica Sacra, from the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia in 1832, the New Harp of Columbia from East Tennessee in 1848, and the Christian Harmony in 1867 across several states in the South. Out of all of the books published during this period, the most enduring is Sacred Harp, first printed in 1844, with many additions since then that kept to the 4-note system. The peculiar characteristics of the music came from the New England composers of the time, who had the melody carried by the tenors instead of the upper voices. The singers also sometimes double parts, the tenors jumping up to the highest line, but singing an octave lower, the sopranos singing the tenor line, but an octave higher. The first collection of African American compositions was The Colored Sacred Harp, published in 1934 by Judge Jackson. These keep to the same New England model, but the parts are arranged in a call and response form brought over from Africa. The singers take liberties embellishing notes like old spirituals or new gospel music. Across all these books are the religious communal traditions that take place with this type of singing. Originally, people would meet up for all-day singing events with all skill levels welcome. The group would be split into a bass, tenor, alto, and soprano section. The singers were arranged in a square, with each side of the square being one section. This was done to assist singers, since the voices you can hear the best are the ones singing your part. The conductor stands in the middle of the square, picking the tune from the book and setting the tempo for the song. Unlike in most ensembles, everyone is welcome to take a turn conducting the group and pick a song. Unlike the standard conduction pattern for 4/4 time, an up and down motion of the arm bending at the elbow is used. One full measure is 2 up and down motions, with each stop marking a beat. This is to help new conductors, as the European style of 4/4 conducting is more complicated and harder for a novice to pick up quickly. In 19th century Europe, music was changed yet again. The 4-note fa, sol, la system had been replaced with a new version, the 7-note do, re, mi, that we use today. and people coming across to America brought this style of singing with them. They had replaced Guido's ut for the first note of the scale with do, and added si at the end for the new seventh note, giving us do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, and si. This probably sounds familiar to you, as it is a widely used singing warm-up today and also was popularized in the Sound of Music song Do Adir. Numerous 7-shape notation systems were devised, although Jesse B. Aiken was the first to produce a book. The standard at the time became the system used in Aiken's Christian Minstrel, first published in 1846. This is mostly because of the influential publisher Rubisch and Kiefer, who adopted Aiken's system in 1876 for their line of books. 2 books from the period remain in use today, albeit in a limited form: William Walker's Christian Harmony and M.L. Swan's New Harp of Columbia. These use 7-note systems devised by their respective authors. After the American Civil War, shape note singing began to identify strongly with the South, declining in other regions across the U.S. Many groups switched over to the new 7-note system to keep up with the new modern teaching methods. During the end of the 19th and into the beginning decades of the 20th century, many 7-note books were published, with music from popular revival and gospel tunes. With the slow modernization of the rural South, the flood of books dwindled, and there are only a few 7-shape books still in publication. In the 1930s, shape note singing was rediscovered by folklorists like George Pullen Jackson and Alum Lomax, who went around and recorded performances at sacred harp and shape note singing meetings. Many of these recordings have been preserved, including the African-American Sacred Heart song, Glory Shone Around, performed by the Sacred Harp Singers, and recorded in 1938. I hope you learned something new about shape note singing and enjoy the song.